Hey, it's Alan Berg. Before we get into this episode, I'm starting something called Ask Me Anything. That's right. You submit your questions and they could become an entire episode or something that I answer at the end of an episode. To submit your questions, look for the red button at podcast.alanberg.com. That's right, podcast.alanberg.com. Click on the red button, submit your question, and maybe you'll hear it here on the podcast. Thanks. You know what I was thinking? Listen to this episode. See where I'm going. Welcome to another episode of the Wedding Business Solutions Podcast. I'm your host, Alan Berg. I'm a speaker, author, sales trainer, website reviewer, and I help businesses like yours sell more, profit more, and have more fun doing it. Enjoy this episode. Hey, it's Alan Berg. Welcome back to another episode of the Wedding Business Solutions Podcast. This phrase, you know what I was thinking? There's kind of a secret code between my wife and I. Not so secret. I've probably spoken about this, where if she says, you know what I was thinking, I'm already getting the car keys and I'm heading either to Home Depot or Lowe's. But that's not what I'm talking about with this episode. That's just kind of a fun thing that happens when she comes up with an idea for a home improvement project. But with our customers, with our family members, with our team members, people that we work with, work for, they work for us, we don't know what they're thinking. And we get ourselves in trouble a lot of the time because we think we know what they're thinking, but we actually don't. And that's why asking questions is always the better way. If you're not sure, don't assume. We know it, that things that, you assume and you make a problem, right? So, and why the book is called Shut Up and Sell More is for that very reason, that we don't know what somebody else is thinking. And by asking better questions, we actually get to the root of what they're thinking and what they want. So personally, professionally, we have to remember that we don't know what someone else is thinking. And very often we think we do, and we're wrong, and we start going down the path the wrong way. And that's why some of the things that I speak about in my sales training very often are, instead of telling someone about something that you want to tell them, a feature of your product or your service, is to phrase it in the form of a question to see if they're interested in finding the answer. And if they want to find out more, then they're open to it. They've invited it. So give an example. If you're a caterer and you want to tell someone about that your chefs can handle any kind of food allergies, food restrictions, food preferences, things like that, rather than going into a dissertation about how you can handle gluten-free and dairy-free and keto and all kinds of allergies and preferences and vegan and vegetarian and all this stuff, just say to the host or the couple or whoever's planning the menu, do you or anyone that's going to be there have any food restrictions, preferences that we need to know about? And if they say, not that I know of, you say, well, if you let us know at least 3 weeks before the event, our chefs can accommodate absolutely anything. And that's it. You had a conversation for about 10 or 15 seconds instead of going into this dissertation. I had a client who had a very rustic, has a very rustic venue. And it does not appear to be handicapped accessible, but it is. You just wouldn't see it unless you were taking that particular path. And rather than showing everyone where the handicap parking and the elevator or the ramps or whatever it is that you have that can accommodate people with mobility issues, you can say to them, do you or any of your guests have mobility issues that we need to be aware of? And if they say yes, if so-and-so is in a wheelchair, crutches, has a trouble with stairs or whatever, you say, well, we do have handicap parking, we have an elevator, we have ramps. Everybody will be able to enjoy the entire wedding event, whatever it is. Would you like to see that? And if they say, no, that's okay, they take your word for it, but now they know. And if they say, no, we don't know anybody that does, you say, well, if you find out somebody does, anybody, God forbid, has an accident or something, we do have handicap parking, elevator, ramps, all those things. So what else have you just been telling people that not everybody needs to know? And can you phrase that in a form of a question? Because again, you don't know what they're thinking. And in terms of the outcomes that they want, I've spoken about this, I've written about it in the books. I actually got this from a client of mine, Kenny, up in Westchester, New York, with his rental company, that every time you get an inquiry, you want to ask 3 questions. You want to know what the occasion is. You want to know who's coming. And you want to know what a successful outcome looks like, feels like, smells like, tastes like. What is that? And That applies if you do more than one type of event. If you only do weddings, or if you only do corporate, or only do fundraisers, well, then you know what the occasion is. But if you don't, asking that question lets them then tell you, and then tell you more about it. So, you know what I was thinking? What I was thinking is that if we all ask better questions, we'll get ourselves in a lot less trouble. We'll find out more about what our customers want, and we'll all be happier, doing more business more profitably. Hope that was helpful. Thanks. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Wedding Business Solutions Podcast. If you liked it, please subscribe to this channel and post a review on your chosen platform, Apple Podcasts or whichever one. If you have any questions about anything in this episode or any of my episodes, email me directly at alan@weddingbusinesssolutions.com or visit my website, alanberg.com, alanberg.com. If you have any suggestions for future topics or guests that you'd like to see, please again, email me or visit my website. Thanks for listening.